Near one line in the surviving record does most of the work and most of the damage. The Mary Rose saw her last action on the 19th of July, 1545. Not a decade, not a season, a single day, pinned to the calendar. The same record places her at the head of an attack on the galleys of a French invasion fleet and then puts her on the bottom off Spithead in the Solent, the strait that runs north of the Isle of Wight. 3 specifics, each checkable. And then the sentence ends. The hull has a date and a position. The people aboard her have neither. That asymmetry is not a small editorial gap. It is the shape of the entire problem, and it is where this has to start. Begin with what the ship actually was. The Mary Rose was a carrack in the English Tudor Navy of King Henry VIII. A carrack is a high-sided sailing vessel with raised structures at bow and stern, built to carry weight and to fight from height rather than to move fast. She was launched in 1511, and she served for 34 years across several wars against France, Scotland, and Brittany. Hold that number for a moment. 34 years is not a cameo. That is a working career, spanning 3 separate theaters of conflict. The documented promise of this ship was never a single dramatic afternoon. It was endurance. Which is what makes the middle of her life the strangest part of the file. In 1536, the Mary Rose was substantially rebuilt. Run the arithmetic on the dates we are given. 25 years of service before that rebuild, 9 years after it. A substantial rebuild is not a repair. It means the object that went down in 1545 was not identical to the object launched in 1511. Some of it was newer. How much, and which parts, the record in front of us does not say. That silence matters, because it sits directly upstream of every question people most want answered about the sinking. And a silence in a source is a constraint. It is not an invitation to fill in the blank. The people recovered with the Mary Rose are the part of this story that vanishes first whenever the evidence thins out. So test it directly. Ask the surviving record who they were and see what comes back. It names a king. It names a navy. It names a ship type, 3 enemies, 4 dates, and 1 stretch of water. It does not name a single person who was aboard. No crew count, no ages, no injuries, no burials. The honest result of that first attempt is a null result, and a null result has real use. It tells you exactly which archive you needed and did not have. Excavation logs, records of where each object and each bone lay in the wreck, laboratory and osteological reporting. Without those documents in hand, anything said about the individuals is storytelling wearing the clothes of evidence. The turning point is noticing that the 2 facts we do hold are the most valuable ones we could have been left. A date and a location sound like trivia. They are not. An undated, unlocated wreck is just material on a seabed. A named vessel, lost on a known day, in a named strait, is something else entirely. It converts an open ocean into a bounded search area, and it converts a pile of objects into a dated assemblage. Everything else that can ever be said about the people aboard depends on that anchor holding. A shipwreck becomes usable evidence at the moment it can be attached to a named day. Here is the mechanism. If the lost date is fixed at the 19th of July, 1545, then nothing that went down with the ship can have been made after that day. Every item inherits a ceiling on its age from the sinking itself. A shoe, a barrel stave, a gun, a bone. Each one is now datable not by guesswork about style, but by association with a documented event. That is why a wreck lost in a recorded action is worth more to archaeology than a richer wreck lost quietly at an unknown time. The date does not tell you who the people were. It tells you the exact moment their world was sealed, which is the precondition for identifying them at all. The consequence on the day itself is stated plainly in the record, and it is worth reading closely. She led the attack, and she sank. The attack she was leading lost the ship leading it during an attempted invasion. That is the operational cost, and it is documented. The human cost is a different matter. This evidence set gives no casualty figure, no survivor figure, and no ratio between them. There are numbers in wide circulation for this wreck, and some of them may be very well sourced in records outside this pack. They cannot be asserted from what is here. The moment a documentary supplies a casualty count, it does not actually hold. It has stopped reporting and started performing. The largest unresolved question is the one the record refuses to answer: why she sank. It states the sinking. It gives no cause. An investigation would have to weigh several categories of explanation against physical evidence, and this evidence set does not let us rank them. Handling and maneuver during the attack, how the hull was loaded, and how much weight sat high in the vessel, weather and open openings low in the ship, enemy action, and the effect of that 1536 rebuild on how she sat and behaved in the water. Popular retellings tend to pick one of those and present it as settled. What is settled here is narrower. A rebuilt carrack, 25 years into a 34-year career, sank while leading an attack. The cause remains open at this level of evidence, and closing it requires the primary technical record, not confident narration. So what does the record support today? Stated at full strength and no further? That the Mary Rose was a carrack in Henry VIII's Tudor Navy. That she was launched in 1511 and served 34 years in wars against France, Scotland, and Brittany. That she was substantially rebuilt in 1536, that her last action came on the 19th of July, 1545, at the head of an attack on French galleys, and that she sank off Spithead in the Solent, north of the Isle of Wight. Anything about her raising, her conservation, her present condition, or the individuals brought up with her belongs to institutional and excavation archives outside this evidence set. Those records exist in the wider literature. They are not what is in front of us, and pretending otherwise would be the easiest lie in this whole episode. Which leaves the finding, and it is not a comfortable one. The written record preserves hulls better than it preserves people. We are given a ship's launch year, its rebuild year, its service span, its enemies, the day it died, and the water it died in. We are given nothing about the men who were standing on it. That imbalance is not neutral. It decides which parts of the story get retold with confidence and which parts get quietly invented. The date and the strait are the two hooks that a properly sourced account of those people can still be hung on, because they fix the moment and the place where the physical evidence was sealed. The people are recoverable, but they are recoverable from excavation records and laboratory reports, not from the paragraph that tells you the ship went down. Until those documents are on the table, the correct thing to say about the crew of the Mary Rose is that they are missing from this record and that the gap itself is the result. Visual reconstructions are illustrative. Facts and interpretations are based on the sources listed in the description.